frequent with cockpit conversations. Normally I do the conversations from the cockpit of my airplane, but traveling here to the Exumas, here at Emerald Bay, I met two people along the way, Biffrey Braxton and Kimberly Citizen, both entrepreneurs, both running a multi-million-dollar business from the U.S. So if you would, tell me about your journey, Kimberly and Biffrey, to travel months on this boat and to run a multi-billion-dollar business. What is that like?
Go ahead.
It, like everything else, has its challenges.
Yes.
But it's been such a rewarding journey. We started out, like you said, back in December. We had a float plan, which, like much of life in sailing and in business, requires constant manipulation and adjustment. So we've made some adjustments over the time period, but it's been great. We've been able to successfully stay connected to our customers, to our employees, most importantly, and to the company, and continue to grow and thrive. I think by the time we leave, and to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's even better.
Yeah. I think by the time we leave, we will have closed almost $10 million in new business while we've been working from the Bahamas.
Right. That is an amazing story. But, you know, being an entrepreneur and working together as a husband-wife team, what is that like?
Rewarding and challenging. Both. I mean, it's on many levels a real joy most of the time.
Right.
Biffrey and I really complement each other.
Right.
He is, in the areas where I am very weak, he is very strong. In the areas where he's very weak, I'm very strong.
Yeah.
And we have learned over the years to really trust in those strengths and to defer to one another in those areas of strengths.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's kept us, I think, on course. Would you agree?
We stay in our lanes.
We stay in our lanes.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we're
awesome.
always counseling one another, but
Right.
if there's something that's in Biffrey's lane that's happening, and I might not necessarily agree with the approach to resolve whatever the issue might be, I'm still going to defer to Biffrey for whatever that resolution is, because I know that's where he has the depth of expertise and experience.
And vice versa.
And
you
vice
know?
versa.
I don't question. Like we actually have, as part of EOS that you mentioned before, we have a same page meeting every week where we ask, one of the questions is, where am I? Where do you find that I am, like, usurping your power? Where am I getting in the way of what you're doing, essentially?
Yes.
Right. So if there is ever an actual answer to that, then we're doing something wrong. We've got to correct it
reassess.
immediately so that we can, like, be on the same page and rowing in the same direction.
Man, rowing in the same direction, sitting here on a sailboat, we're kind of we're walking a little bit here at Emerald Bay Marina, and it's you know, so you're growing a business in the midst of COVID.
Right.
What has that been like?
Very challenging, honestly. 2020 was, I think,
The second worst business year
that we've had, and we still grew in terms of revenue a little bit, but we were on such a growth trajectory in terms of revenue that it was definitely a couple steps back.
And by the way, a little bit means a little more than $1 million over that year.
Over that year, yeah. I think for us, when I look back on the COVID year, one of the things that strikes me the most was how much I valued revenue growth over other types of growth, and it changed my perspective, because what COVID did for us was allow us to take a step back, really assess where we were, and put all these new systems, processes, and people into place that exponentially advanced the maturity of the infrastructure of our organization.
Right.
So there are a couple of contracts that we're going after now, right, that are rather large. And pre-COVID, we would have thought we were ready,
But weren't. Right.
But
now I know we're ready.
Right.
That is amazing. And so going into COVID, coming out of COVID, your thought process is now you're more valuable because you know more. about your business.
Absolutely.
Not only that, but like we value our people more also. And the people that we have, every person that we have now is in the right place. So like we have this concept that the core values are what get you on the bus, and whether you get it, want it, and have capacity for it, get you in the right seat on the bus.
Yes.
And we've evaluated every single person that's in our organization to determine whether or not someone is not just on the right bus, but also gets it, wants it, and has capacity for it. So every single person in our organization, we currently feel is like the right person for where we are and where we're going.
And for where they are.
And where they are, right, yeah. And everyone else, like some people are great people and they are fantastic at their jobs, but because they may not share our core values, that makes them not the right fit for our bus. That doesn't mean they're bad. Like it could be perfect for somebody else's bus. You know?
But not your bus.
Right.
But
So so we're happy when they get to go share their brilliance elsewhere, and we get the right, the right fit for our bus.
So Kimberly and Biffrey, I have had a boat parked here for the past 7 years.
Yeah.
And I've been coming here ever since then. You're the first people of color that I've met on this journey. And so tell us about the journey. Let me give the audience some understanding of what it's like to sail from Maryland to Emerald Bay on your own boat.
Right.
And it took months. How do you do that?
Good, bad, and ugly.
Good, bad, and ugly. Whew. Good, bad, and ugly. Good. It is by far the most freeing experience of my life and the most at peace I've been in my life, even while suffering over the last 2 years, the greatest losses in my life, losing both my parents in 2 years. I still feel freer, happier, and more at peace than ever, and that's due to sailing. So that's good. The bad is that, when you're running a business from the boat, you're very reliant on technology and connectivity, and that alters the plans a lot.
Yes.
We've had a lot of that on that trip. But if you're willing to be flexible in your thought process, it doesn't sap you of the joy. It's just a different plan. You still get to reap all the joy from it. It's just not what we planned.
Right.
And the ugly are 25-foot waves rounding Cape Hatteras. That's the ugly.
25-foot waves?
Oh,
Where?
yeah. Cape
Rounding
Hatteras.
Cape Hatteras.
And
for almost 24 hours.
And Cape Fear.
And Cape Fear.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
For me, the good has been the balance that we found. We talk a lot about balance in work and work-life balance, and I think that sometimes balance isn't just daily balance. I spend this amount of time working and this amount of time doing personal things. I think that we've recognized that this kind of lifestyle encourages that.
Yes.
But that sometimes when you've got a goal, that the balance really is you've got to look at the balance over a longer period of time. And sometimes you've got to put more into the work right now, and that means that something else suffers periodically, temporarily, right?
Yes.
But if you do it right, then that other thing gets to really take the lead later, and that will be us sharing time together without having to have the daily effort and burden of running the business when we are able to have a liquidity event.
Yes.
The bad. The bad is probably the same thing.
25-foot waves.
Yeah. The ugly, I think, is the time when we're away from our kid. He's living his own dream.
Yes.
He's pursuing his dream as a fencer. He has gotten into a school that he wants to be at. And we're not there every day to see that happening right now because he's super focused on his dream.
Yes.
And we're building and doing the things that we need to support his dream too.
Yes,
right?
of course.
Yeah. So that's for me the ugly.
So entrepreneurship is really, really hard. And there are a bunch of people on social media that make it look like it's really easy, but it's not.
Right.
And so for people who are watching, what can you share with them about how to make their entrepreneurial dreams come true?
Oh, good.
Because they're hard.
That's a great question, and I think, just by virtue of our gender differences, you're going to get very different answers from us. But for me, I think what I would say to other women out there, particularly women of color who are starting out on their entrepreneurial journey, is that imposter syndrome is a real thing, and
What
we
is
have
that?
to.
What is that?
Imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is something that many women feel when they're starting out in business, that they don't know enough, they don't have enough, they don't deserve a seat at the table. And what we say to ourselves on a day-to-day basis really matters. Changing that self-narrative from I don't belong here to I own this table. You
do own this table. You do. Yes, you do.
This one right here.
Yeah.
I own this little
You
bitty
got
table.
this. You got this. It's yours. Even a little piece of rice on it.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah. I think it's really important, and it's
Yes.
a game changer for women to really embrace their own power.
Yes.
And I think that's the big differentiator between those that start and try and those that are able to do and achieve what they want in entrepreneurship, for women in particular, is being able to cross that hurdle. And there are very simple methods for doing that. It's been 3 years. Every morning I start my morning. I say mornings are for me because I start my mornings with my affirmations. And it's all about pumping myself up for the day.
Right.
Abundance and prosperity are my birthright. I am brilliant. I am beautiful. I am bold. All those things that I don't necessarily see as being part of who I am, I start my day with that. And eventually what happens over time, because words have power, is it creeps in.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you start to see little changes, and the world begins to change around you because you've changed, and it changes your whole experience.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And I am better off having met you 4 days
thank you.
ago, walking across this dock, and knew there was something special that existed here. So, Biffrey, your thoughts?
Oh, well, my perspective is a little bit different because I got a big head. I don't have to pump myself up. But what I have realized is that I spent a lot of time trying to prove to other people that I was capable because I knew it in myself, and other people may not have known it. And that was the issue for me, And you can spend a great deal of time on that and not do what you set out to accomplish, right?
Yes.
So it's its own pitfall. And once I realized that I don't have to prove to anyone that I am, who I know I am. And once I realized also that there's a lot of theater involved in playing any role in any position. And so, dressing the part or appearing in the way that you're expected to, what they, as close to what you think that your audience is expecting, it's not being disingenuous. It's being giving them the opportunity to see past what their own prejudices to see who I actually am, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So once I learned that, it just became, I think that I mentioned a story to you before that, I had appointments that instead of being an hour and a half, they went down to about 30 minutes because I played the part of what they wanted to see. And that was all before I set foot in the door, before we sat down to talk. I said the same things once we were at the table. It didn't, none of that changed. It was all about the theater,
Yes. So, I mentioned earlier that my life is better because I have met the two of you. And I believe that in all the travels that we've done around the world, I believe there's good people in the world. And so when I walked past you all's boat, when I landed here last week, and I saw the two of you, I knew that there was something special here that I needed to find out what it was.
Man, we appreciate that.
And I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to spend some time together because, you know, it's a rarity.
Right.
I mean, I've been an entrepreneur all my life. You're an entrepreneur. You all are entrepreneurs. You're very successful at what you do. So I am thankful for the last 4 days that we spent together.
It's been enriching for us.
It's been
too.
amazing, and I think your story is inspirational.
Thank you.
What you all are doing as entrepreneurs, you're out here in the Caribbean on your own boat. I mean, you've been traveling for months, and so I'm really thankful that you were willing to spend some time with us. And so, you know, I'll just close it out saying, hey, this is Daryl Freeman, ending with Cockpit Conversations. You know, Biffrey, Braxton, Kimberly Citizen. I'm thankful that I met you all, and
so are we.
Our lives are better. When I say our lives, I mean my wife and my friends. Our lives are better because we met you all. So thank you for allowing us to come onto your boat and rock a little bit, and have the electricity go off a little bit, and bring it back up to kind of show what the life is like. So thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you
No,
for
we
like
thank you.
talking to us. And
Yes.
It's been a great time
It's been
spending
a
time
pleasure.
with you too.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.